and it keeps adding on. As long as it keeps going, you know, it will keep calculating the 3 and keep pushing out damage. So he is pushing out a lot of damage. Alrighty, so that is a general idea. Let's see if I missed anything. Actually, you know what? Let's just go through the rest of the library dimensions. So, a couple more new things. For on top of the gear that you already have, for the soulbound weapon, you can actually inlay them. This is a new one. If you have, I don't have any, but if you do have any extra level 6 soulbound weapons laying around, you can use them to add slots to your weapons. And then, with that, you can go to your sigils. So, sigils are a new thing added that are basically like runes that you put into your weapons to upgrade them. For example, you can get +3 evasion, resistance, penetration, there's attack power, just basically any stat increase in rare or common or a set. Now what a set is for example, I don't know if I have a full set yet. Heart of the Tribe plus Golden Scarab. I do have a set for this. So with the Golden Scarab, if I have this one in one weapon, it will increase my maximum HP to 6,000. Now, if I have the Heart of the Tribe with it, I will also add on armor of 150. So, I believe Heart of the Tribe is this one? Nope. This. Nope. This. I thought I had one. I was so sure I had one. There it is. Heart of the Tribe. So this, with this Golden Scarab, will give me 6,000 HP with armor together. It's kind of a low tier set. They do have higher ones, which I don't have. This one is a higher one, but I don't have Mark of the Musketeer. Some of these levels to obtain these are still outside my reach, even after 5 years of playing. With very minimum amounts of money paid into this game. If any, it was just Google Cash. So, yeah. So those are sigils. Now the next thing we have is skill app. So each character at level 4 and higher will have a chance to include a skill. So if you notice, when I was attacking, there was 2 bars. One was my HP bar, and then there's a random yellow bar on the bottom. Every time I click the box, that bar or gauge will increase until it maxes out. Once it maxes out, this skill block will appear, and you can activate it just simply like clicking like another block. The one that I have on Leon right now is Spirit of Vengeance, which is a level 5 or higher skill. So you need to promote him to level 5 in order to have this for level 6. Let's test that for level 5. Nope, that was not a level 5. Numbers. Level 5. Okay. Yes, you can use. Oh, oh, you can. Alright. Interesting. What? Okay, so you use skills. You need to unlock these when you first start. Sometimes you need to obtain certain characters to level them or to unlock them. or you have to obtain a certain number of a certain type of character, archer or wizard or priest or something like that. Each of them has their own criteria to unlock. Just kind of like champions, which I didn't mention before. Side note, in order to unlock champions, you actually need to finish a certain level in the quest, and you also need to sacrifice a level 6 of a certain character. So I believe with Galahad it was Alex, who is actually a very strong tank. This is Alex with a skin, but this is Alex with hold on. Alex skin. There you go, Alex. So Emperor Alex, once you level up to level 6, you can sacrifice an Alexander to unlock the champion. Just like the skills. Sometimes you don't need to sacrifice one for skills, but you do need to obtain. One of the harder ones are the ones at the bottom. You need to get certain characters that are harder to get, one of them's Lilith, which is right here. Oops. My way. Lilith. For priest, you need Nightingale, which is that one. And then for hunter, I think it was Spyro. It was either Spyro or it was one of them. Can't remember them all. But yeah, you will get there. Over time, most of them are easy to obtain. Actually, no, they're not. For the skills, they are not easy to obtain. I realized that after noticing that I didn't even get Nightingale until I used Bridget points, which I'll go over now. Bridget points, they are rarer than gems. They are the new currency that you can only get through events. They will hand them out to you. And if you don't have them handed out to you, you will not have one. You will not have Bridget points unless you spend real money. And what they do is kind of a shortcut. You can select any character at level 4. Any character at all, including the new ones. It does cost 2,800, and I saved up 5,000. That is after I used a lot of it after the third year. So still haven't gained it all back. You get like 100 every event or something, so it's been a while. You can also get soulbound weapons. So this is kind of like not a package deal. You get one, you gotta try to get the soulbound weapon, or you gotta get the soulbound weapon in another way, which I will go over after this. Legendary contract. I don't think you'll ever need Bridger points for these because they're easily obtainable from dungeons. And then weapon tickets. So each of the weapons that you have, you can swap out one of their upgradable options on top. So again on their gear, you also do have 2 slots open for upgrade, just kind of like the normal ones, on top of their ability, which is their passive. So I don't have a maxed out hero attack power, but I do have a maxed out damage reduction by 17% on Leon here. It's not great, but you know, it really does the job. Honestly, with defense, I would have gone for armor because, you know, it does do more damage. Also, again, it scales. So if I wanted to, I could use the upgrade here, or I can go back to the Bridger points and basically just swap out for one, which is kind of a cheat, but I don't want to use that. So that's Bridger points. Now, other ways that you can get soulbound weapons, the most popular is you obtain items called old weapons. So I'm gonna use old. So these are old swords, old hammers, bows, old guns, they don't do any damage. Like one, not any, but one, and one is nothing. Like it doesn't do anything. These are equipable, but just don't do it because it doesn't do anything. What you want to do is you want to forge them, and in order to forge them, you will need 3 things. 1, gold. The next currencies that I will talk about is you also need iron and the stardust, or the shards, crystal shards, crystal dust, crystal something. All the crystals. 3 crystals and iron. And each for forging from old, from a level 5 old, it will go back to a level 4 soulbound, and that uses crystal powder, which is the first level that you see all the way on the left. From level 4 to level 5, it will use whatever the middle one is, and then the crystal shards, which is the last one, is level 5 to level 6, which is the max. As you saw on Leon here, he has a level 6 weapon soulbound, and that raises the iron per level as well. So as you noticed, forging it only costs 4,000 iron from old, but it doubles, so it goes from 4,000 to 8,000, and then in order from 5 to 6, level 6, it costs 16,000. So it's a lot of iron, and there's always kind of been an iron deficiency, because these go by really, really fast. So you really got to grind for them. The number one way, in that, if you don't want to wait all the way until Sunday for the time machine dungeon, you can go to the Fortress of Souls. And Fortress of Souls is a list. It used to be longer than this, and then they shrunk this, and then they added another level. It's much harder, kind of to go along with the increasing levels of the characters when they boosted with the sheets and the books over level 60. So there's 6 levels here. They're quite easy. I already finished these, so I can't show you unless I use the retry, which uses gems. I don't want to do that. But if you do retry, it does increase the reward from 360 for this level to, I think, like 40% or like 30% increase, or 25, I forgot. So this one is crystal powder. This one's that crystal shard. Oh, that's the shard. What is this? Rock? Oh, it's just crystal. Okay. So you get powder, shard, crystal, and then iron. This one you get iron. This one you get a box where you can get iron, or you can get old weapons, or you can get shards or powder or whatever. Same with this one, but a higher chance of getting weapons. Specifically weapons. And then here are the higher level one. Again, I still can't beat these 2. I don't have a good team for these yet. Here's the thing about Fortress of Souls, it kind of changed the dynamic of the game. At the beginning of the game, I wanted one of each character, good or bad. Which, obviously, because of gems, you do want to do. But on top of that, you're going to start wanting to double up on good characters. For example, Alex is a good tank, right? Alex is a good tank. He's good with someone like Drake, even though he's kind of nerfed, but he's still good with Drake, who's also a tank. And then you need someone like Izuna, like a really strong attacker who's OP. But once you're in Fortress of Souls, you're going to start needing multiples of them. For example, I'm going to just use an example. So once you've finished using a character, you can't use them again. You're going to have to use a separate character. For example, you see Izuna, I used her to complete this level. So I don't have her anymore. Having 2 of her might actually get me to finish these 2. So doubling up on good characters is good. Again, not just one character is good enough. You gotta have a good dynamic with your characters. You got to reach each of their skills. They kind of have to function correctly together to counter your opponents, regardless if it's PvP or MVP or in the Fortress of Souls and so on and so forth. One of the last things is rings. Rings is another gear that they had early in the game, which each character it's just a ring. It's just adding stuff on, more armor. Again, you can convert these as well, but that's another currency. Another currency. So this currency has two, blue and red. So blue is to convert the bottom three, and then you can also convert the rank instead of just converting it. Converting it means like this one says function on top, 5.6%. It keeps scrolling. The chance of evasion, basically. If I convert it, it'll change it to something else. It's not function, it's not attack, it's not defense, it's something random, and it's either intermediate or superior or bort. I don't know what that means. And it's randomized. If you like what you have, for example, I want evasion, you can actually convert the rank instead, and that maxes to superior for that specific rank. Or premium, sorry. So superior here I have HP, I have armor penetration, premium, so I've upgraded those through the convert rank. So I can't do that already because it's at maximum. So I could do one more, but I actually was hoping to get that one to armor. Yeah, so again, that's another thing on the bucket list I gotta do. Each character, you can spend a lot of time to try to perfect through soulbound, through rings. You gotta level them with bread, you gotta level them with berries, and then again after that you gotta do the sheets to level them higher. How to obtain rings. Before that goes, there is raids. Oh, did not mention that yet. Raids. So raids is basically the co-op version of the game. Each of these you are required to have another person play with you live. So I will go into one of these and then I'll start, and then I have to pick a random ally, or you could choose one if you already have like a room set up. You could type it in, someone's already in there, they'll join you automatically. Once someone joins, you press start, you're good to go, and you're on your way. There are, for these, this one's for weapons. This one also has a count. I don't think the counter shows. No. But it changes every 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days. It goes from this dragon to this dark forest. It's basically the first 3 bosses from the quest, and they're just like buffed up. But there's the weak one, there's awakened one, and ultimate one, and ascended one. Generally, once you get an OP character, these are all quite easy. It's a walk in the park. But in the beginning, you might have some trouble. You definitely want to find someone who is stronger than you. If someone shows up that's not that great, you don't have to join. You can just exit and just wait for somebody else. Ruler of Mana, that's where you get all the rings. You have attack rings, defense rings, function rings, and then a random option of rings, depending on the level. And I have not cleared. Oh no, I have. I had a lot of help with these because you have to have immunity characters that can easily block out all damage immediately, or have higher healing abilities to basically become invincible for a couple seconds depending on the burst. And you have help of other characters, or other players. So instead of just focusing the 3 characters to have a good defense and priest and for healing and good damage at the same time, because you got to kill the damn thing, you can also rely on other people's healing and buffs and shields and their attack to take him down. Depending on the character dynamic of your team and their team, it will be easy or hard. That's all I can say about that. Now, the newest one that they included was this Guardian of the Ruins section, which is kind of interesting. This is where you get your sigils, especially the sets. Which comes to another thing, the challenges, which is after this. So, with the Guardians of the Ruins, you will also be in a co-op position. Some of these are easy, legit, very easy. It's magic immunity, so you have to really read them. The next one is physical damage immunity, so you want to use a lot of damage, magic damage instead, and magic penetration. This one is both. So there are 2 tiers for this. You need beginning, I believe it was physical immunity, and the second one was magic immunity, and then the last one there's no immunity. You just gotta take it out as quickly as possible. Each one of these has a berserk mode. I believe it's 90 seconds. 90 seconds into this match, if you haven't beat it yet, it will turn into berserk mode, which is basically the end of the round. Within 90 seconds, if you haven't beat it, it will basically just kill everybody. So you got a timer, and so you gotta time it. Yep. So those are raids. Challenge, which is where you get normally the other half of the set of sigils. There are the main ones. These are modeled after the quests here. I believe it was this one. Yep. So you see the characters are kind of the same. The end characters, they're all kind of the same. That one dog looking thing and this ugly goblin thing. So, yep. There's the one version of the goblin thing. But it's terrible. But these are very hard characters to defeat. It's basically the same thing as the quest itself, but everything's just harder. You do have a recommended level here. So this one is the easiest, the level 1 on top of the 60. So if you just use one sheet, it'll kind of be good. Depending on the character, again, depending on your composition, everything, and timing. Level 5, level 10, level 15. I have not cleared this yet. This one's damn near impossible for me. I will get to it when I have time. But again, you can get sigils and sets also, and also you get rewards like iron, and you can get coverless books, which become a class of books that you could use as well. Again, based on chance. This is the newest one based off the newest levels. I will get into that. I don't think I think I only beat it 1 time recently. 3 times. Oh, okay. I was having a field day. Last but not least, Legend of Primal Flames. This is also a way to get rings. But these rings, most of the rings that you get here are specific to the Coliseum. So when you fight PvP, there are rings that you could have to attach to your characters that will boost them. So you have specific PvP characters if you want. I personally have not used the rings for that because those rings I can get the same results from normal rings if I have the right set of skills on that ring. So generally I'm not gonna be using the Coliseum ones, but you do get the blue and the red balls for conversions for these rings as a reward too. So that's how you farm those. You can only do kind of like Fortress of Souls. You can only do it a certain amount of times. You can only do the Legend of Primal Flames 3 times a day. It doesn't matter which one you do. Once you do 3 of them, you're done. You gotta wait for the next day, or you can use gems to restock if you really need it, but you have to gauge what's important. The very last thing I'm gonna just go over on this specific video is fishing. Actually, 2 things. First, I'm gonna go over exploration, and there's fishing, and then that'll be the end of the video. So, exploration. This is like the game's version of idling. You know, kind of like idle tapping, or what is that game? Idle RPG. Where the game plays without you. You come back anytime you want. The game's still going. This is not exactly that, but it's kind of a way of idling, kind of like fishing, to gain or obtain awards. So, for example, I'm going to this one. The rewards are on the top left. Exploration reward. You get mercenary experience and hero experience for each of the heroes that you have here, the 5 that you have. I'm gonna use this to finish, just so I can show you. I got the rewards. I got 2 extra rewards. I'll show you why. And then because these are all max, I don't get any experience, but they should have experience. So I'm gonna go into it now. Now, you can choose to get, you see how on the bottom left, the exploration bonus, there's a 5 with a check, there's a 7 with a check, and there's a 9 with a check. And there's a whole bunch of boxes with things that look like legendary scroll, a contract scroll, a male sign, female sign, a hunter logo, a paladin logo, level 4, level 5. These are all criterias. So, for example, I want to look for, they want you to look for 1 legendary that fits something in here. So I'm going to look for a level 4 legendary, male or female, who is a hunter or a paladin. So here I'm going to look paladin, a hunter, 4 or 5. I have 1. Boom. It's a female, so that's 4 out of the way. Now I need 1 more criteria to get the level 5 checked off. So I need a legendary that's a male. It's level 4. So level 4, I don't have 1. Okay, so then instead I'm just gonna do a level 4 Leon. Boom. So that boosted me to a level 5. A legendary, and is a male. So that got me from 5 to 7. So then I'll have 2 extra rewards. To get the last one, I need a contract level 4. Contract level 4 paladin. Boom. Done. That's all 9. But in order to finish this, I need 2 random characters because I need a to level 5, and then I can start exploring. Now, if I don't want to use these characters, I don't want to pick and choose every time, you can just click the suggest button. And that's a terrible suggestion. It's because you're filtered. I'm filtered. Suggest. There. Boom. It just chose pretty much the same thing I chose except for the last 3. So, and I can start it. And that's going to take 12 hours to finish. So by the end of 12 hours, I come back and I'll have it finished. And it'll say finish. I click on it. I get all the rewards. My characters get experience. And I also get mercenary experience, which is your player level, which is, that's the one way you get Bridget points. I am level 100 now. But starting from level 1, every level that you go, you do rack up Bridget points. I think it was 10 Bridget points for every level. Yeah. So that's how you get Bridget points on top of, but I mean, honestly, it's, don't count on it. Cause by the time you're level 50, it's gonna take forever to get Bridger points. It's only like worth it on the first, I don't know, 20 levels where it's kind of fast because you got all this stuff going on. Everything increases your mercenary score overall. So by level 21, level 25, it's gonna slow down dramatically. Don't count on that for Bridger points. Just pray for events. All right, last thing, fishing. This is kind of an active AFK kind of thing. In the beginning, I believe from your rank level 1 to 10, you actually have to be active. Now, the way that fishing works is, I'll show you. You're gonna have a rod. You're gonna need a lure, and then you're gonna need bait. Those are the 3 things that you need. So as you see, I have some high level ones. I'm gonna use the normal rod because that's what you're gonna start with. For the float, I'm gonna use the normal float, and the bait I'm gonna use. Well, I don't have any baits. These baits are cheap though, so I'm just gonna set them. Oops, use this one. Okay, so in the beginning, you don't have this auto button above the reel here on the right. Until level 10, so you actually have to fish. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna tap, and you're gonna tap when that bar goes into the middle blue, and then you're going to, oh, where'd that one go? Again, and when that exclamation comes up, you're gonna tap. Oops. I tapped too early. Again, timing is everything. I personally have not fished in a long time. I have been auto fishing because ain't nobody got time for that. So now you gotta hold and try to stay in the game. Boom. And I got a frog. So I get a fishing experience of 40, and then I got 20 fish points. Now, what are fish points? There's actually a trading post where you can use your fish points to gain items, including a character called Fisher Neil, who is, as you see in purple, that is a secret contract character. So you can't get those unless you have an event, and this event is the fishing event. However, the fishing event now stayed forever, but this is still considered an event character. You can only get him through fishing, which costs you 50,000. Oh, that's another currency, the fish coins. Okay, that's another one, and you get them by fishing. Pretty straightforward. There are some things that I already purchased, so they're blocked out, but for example, the rods and the floats, but all of the sheets, the tickets, the iron, crystal, everything else resets every week. So there's a 1 out of 1 for the book. I already bought that. There's 1 out of 1 for the random ticket. I already bought 1 out of 5 for the ancient book page. I buy 4 more. By the end of the week, it's going to be 0 out of 5 again. I can buy again. So you do want to keep up the fishing coins, so then every week you can keep re-upping. Now, this is only probably going to be times when you're AFK, when you get to level 10, because you can auto fish, and basically it just fishes for you, and this is the time where you kind of don't watch it, you just kind of walk away. Now, what they've implemented is a battery saving mode. So after you auto fish, you click on battery saving, and it just shows you that you're auto fishing. It doesn't really do anything. And after a couple seconds, screen goes blank. If you want to come back, turn it on, slide, you're back, and we're done. So I'm going to change everything back because I really need good stuff to fish with. That, and then honestly, for the baits, the tip that I have here is just use worms. They're cheap enough, and honestly, you get pretty far with them. I mean, if you really want to really farm fast, yeah, you can go ahead and buy a more expensive bait. But I think the most important thing is using those gems to buy the right floats and this bamboo rod, and that will get you pretty far in fishing pretty quickly, even in auto fishing. But in general, I don't think you really need it. So yeah, so ultimately that was the gist of Crusader's Quest, and I apologize for the gap in the video. Accidentally, you saw me accidentally press stop recording, because ever since the update to Pi, I felt like the recording thing has been kind of bigger and glitchier. But yep, that is Crusader's Quest. You know, if you have any questions, definitely go to the Library of Dimensions. You're gonna have to read a lot of stuff. There's a lot of other things in here, stories where you can get prizes and rewards. You can see all the cutscenes again, look at illustrations. There's other things like the Alchemy Lab where you can kind of like meld things together. If you have like too many berries, you can get a higher grade berry. There's a bunch of items that you can obtain through events and stuff, you know, little milks that would kind of boost your experience or your critical level, which you can use. I've not used much, maybe one on accident, but I've not really used those. Skins, you know, those are buyable from the store, or certain events will show up where you can get skins, obtain skins. Ooh, that's a fun skin. Yeah. That's cute. I want to say that anyway, ultimately, that is the high level of Crusader's Quest in one of the most disorganized way of me explaining it. But in a way it makes sense because the transition from this game from one currency to another, from one event to another, from one type of character to another, kind of went like that for me. That was the way that the game was played, for me figuring it all out. I will go into more detail on another video, but yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, just leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. You know, enjoy your time. All right, have a good one, guys.